Called by many names, this area is one of endless beauty and infinite stories. The Shawnee inhabited this land before the first white settlers arrived in the 1730s. The first of these, John Hayes and John Walker, gave their names to two local landmarks, Hayes Creek and Walker's Creek. In the late 1700s, this area, then called Letcher's Spring, began developing. This growth continued into the 1800s, and it became known as Jordan Spring, and then finally, Rockbridge Baths. Although the name has remained the same for over 150 years, the relationships among the land, its residents, and the community they form remains ever-changing. A brief discussion with resident Malcolm Brownlee paints a current sketch of these dynamics.
Well, I grew up right across the field there and attended the local school, which was right here at that time, and retired here about 3 years ago.
Mr. Brownlee spent his childhood in Rockbridge Baths. He attended high school in Lexington and graduated from Washington and Lee University. He then went to Union Seminary in Virginia, Yale Divinity School, and Columbia Seminary in Decatur, Georgia. He has had churches in Kentucky, Georgia, North Carolina, and West Virginia. For 11 years, he taught in Indonesia before returning to Rockbridge Baths, where he served as an interim minister until this past September. Because of his time away and his continued love of the land, Mr. Brownlee can view the changes in his home with a unique perspective. During his childhood, more than half of the residents in Rockbridge Baths worked on farms. Although the area is still a rural community, now only 1 or 2% make a living solely from farming. This means that community members must seek work outside of the town, and that the economic prospects of children seeking to stay in the area, always bleak, now offers less promise. As concerns of economic viability draws people away, the land's beauty attracts families for retirement, which further changes the community dynamic. However, the change which Mr. Brownlee most notices involves the sense of community which he felt so strongly during his childhood. Growing up, there was a grade school, a building called the Nutritional Camp, used regularly for community events, and 4 stores within a mile of his home. Now, the community center of Rockbridge Baths is in Lexington. The general store is a post office, the nutritional camp is closed, and even the baseball games, played only a few years ago, have ceased. This means more than a longer commute to work or to the grocery store. It means the loss of checker games at the general store, the loss of a gathering place, of common activities, of a culture. Yet, the sense of community is not lost. Public forums and other community events occasionally occur in the new fire hall. In an effort to strengthen the community's vitality, the local Presbyterian church hosts community luncheons and is starting a food pantry. Recently, the community came together for a cakewalk to help an injured community member. Though gossip no longer occurs at the aisles of the general store, stories, prompted by a passing friend's vehicle or seen a neighbor's house, are still told about the land and its inhabitants. It is these elements, the ones which speak to the individual relationships within the community, which best testifies to the sense of community still felt here. Rockbridge County is an area of storytelling. Community members know each other and their tales. When you see a sheriff cruiser pulled over beside a civilian car, the officer may very well be chatting with a friend instead of writing a citation. Despite the economic difficulties, farmers do not feel a kindred spirit. Even in the environmental restoration debate, most adherents to either side remain amicable with the opposition, except maybe when speaking from a podium in one of the public forums. Though changing, the community still thrives through individuals, strengthened by the social groups they form, and united through the land.
So it's a good place to grow up, still it's a good place to live.